Hey, I have something I'm really excited to show you. This is a new collection I've ordered. It's new to me because it came out in 2011, but this is John Fahey, Your Past Comes Back to Haunt You, the Fonotone years 1958 to 65. So if you're not familiar with Fahey, we can describe him as a blues guitarist. Of course, that's going to be an oversimplification. He is basically taking blues and folk, mixing in other influences, but he basically elevates it to a higher American art form. He's an innovator in a genre that comes to be called American primitive guitar. You also have people like Leo Kottke following in his footsteps, but very influential. He's also drawing on a lot of the older blues players that I admire, people like Mississippi John Hurt or Booker White. One thing that's really neat about Fahey is he was such a devotee of the blues back in the 60s when it was really coming back into the forefront of the American consciousness. One thing Fahey did is he went out and found old records that had been lost. So he went canvassing for records, even found a few old blues artists. So he went and dug up Booker White back at his home in Mississippi, was influential in getting Booker White to record again. I believe he's one of the people responsible for finding a couple others as well. But I want to open this up. So we have a little label here describing it: 5 compact disc, 115 rare recordings, 88-page hardback book. I'm really excited about that. For all you people that say, "Why don't you just stream it, man?" Well, I don't get the book. I don't get as much information. I don't get the presentation. And this is really a beautiful set. Uh, I will say I've already listened to this a little bit. I have streamed it some, enough to know it's not going to satisfy me. So, uh, if you're new to Fahey, this wouldn't be a great place to start, as far as I can tell. You probably want to go to his albums like The Transfiguration of Blind Joe Death. And speaking of presentation, I mean, just look at the artwork here. And it has kind of out there poetic liner notes that are a little bit unhinged, but they read kind of like beat poetry. So that is an interesting thing in and of itself. But let's dig into this. Blind Joe Death is the persona he created for himself when he first started recording. His goal originally was to embody the influences of the old blues players to the extent that if you were to hear his music without context, you would think he was just an old musician that had been forgotten. So he used the name Blind Joe Death. He sometimes used the pseudonym Blind Thomas back in the day because he was influenced by people like Blind Joe Fuller and Blind Lemon Jefferson, Reverend Gary Davis, also known as Blind Gary Davis. So a lot of those great players. But you see, we have it slides out. It's supposed to look like an old record set, clearly. And it folds out like this. You see Fahey there. We got a great book full of all sorts of doodles. I assume these are his. He focused more and more on visual art later into his career, even though a lot of his paintings end up being non-representative, abstract sort of things. Okay, so we have the book here, which I'll kind of flip through a little bit. Okay, lots of great information about the different tracks. I'm going to absolutely love this. And then, of course, we have our CDs. Here we are. So, from his youngin' days, right, to his days as a young scrapper, I'd like to know more about his story. Apparently, he begins his interest in the guitar with bluegrass music. His autobiography is called How Bluegrass Music Ruined My Life because it introduces him to an obsession. Of course, he then gets into the blues. He gets into classical music. He often talks about the classical influences on some of the pieces he plays. But there you go. Maybe that's not the most eventful thing, but I'm really excited about this set. I'll go back and I'll record a review when I've been able to dig through this. But this is something I'd like to do more in the future, just go through different collections I have, maybe significant albums, and just showcase them a little bit. If you have any requests for different kinds of types of material you'd like me to do, feel free to let me know. But otherwise, I'll see you next time.